A couple of friends recently asked me the exact same question, and it was, how do you actually stay consistent when everyone else around you is choosing the easy path? And to be honest, I didn't really have a good answer to that one. I just said, I just do it because it has to be done. But that kind of bothered me because I wasn't really able to articulate it in that moment. So I thought about it. And what I found actually explains how I went from someone that couldn't stick with, everything that I did for more than a couple of weeks to now being 11 weeks in this process without actually missing a single one. So here's the thing, everyone will tell you that the answer is discipline. And I mean, they're right. But it's more than that, because discipline, it's only a tool if you think about it. The problem I have with that is that nobody kind of talks about why you cannot stay disciplined in the first place. So today I want to break down what I think is actually getting in the way, why the way most people think about their goals is actually making it harder for them to reach them, and what's really holding you back, because it's probably not what you think. Let's discuss it. Yo, what's up? I'm Alex, and I'm using this channel actually as a public journal for my self-improvement journey. I am now in week 11, figuring things out as I go and sharing those learnings along the way. No filter and no bullshit. So let's define the actual problem, and it all goes back to my friend's question. How do you manage to stay consistent? And my honest answer, the first one that I gave them, was I just do it. But well, that's not really helpful. So I started to really think about it. For that, I had to go back and actually break down why I think it didn't work before. So what I used to do was basically set a goal, then I was fired up for a week or two, then I messed up, I felt like shit, and then I just repeated that cycle all over again, basically starting on Monday. And the thing is, I already knew back then that discipline is the answer, that's not news. The real question is, what's actually blocking you from being disciplined? Because something is, and until you figure out what that something is, no morning routine or habit tracker is actually going to save you. So then the question becomes, what's actually blocking you? And think about it like this. If you had a friend who actually canceled on you every single time you made plans together, how many times before you stop believing them, before you lose that trust? Well, newsflash, Sherlock, because every single time you made a promise to yourself and then broke it, you kind of chipped away at the trust you had built with yourself. And after enough broken promises to yourself, your brain will kind of just stop believing the next plan even before you start. And that's why basically Monday resets don't work, because you don't actually believe you're gonna follow through with the plan. It's not that the plan is bad, it's just that your brain thinks that you're not gonna do it. And honestly, based on your track record, why would it believe that? Why would you believe that you're gonna do it? But here's the good news. Here's the flip side of that, because every promise you do keep to yourself, it's a piece of evidence that goes towards building that trust. You're actually building proof that you are who you say you are. And this is actually a quote from Alex Hormozi. Check this out.
You don't build confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by giving yourself a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
Now that's a great fucking quote. And I have another one still from Alex Hormozi that says, discipline is the ability to keep promises to yourself. And now that stack of proof, that's actually what real confidence is built on. Not affirmations in the mirror or, vision boards, just actual concrete evidence. For me, that's actually what keeps me going. I promised myself I would do this, and I want to keep my promise this time around. And I've had enough of letting myself down, because at some point, the pain of breaking another promise, yet another promise to myself, became worse than the pain of actually putting in the work and doing the work. And I honestly believe that that's when you're going to change too. You have to put everything in balance and see if you're gonna be okay with being who you are right now, or worse, for another year or 2 or 5. So you've started keeping the promises, you're building the trust, you're rebuilding the trust. But there's something else working against you, and most people have no idea about this one. And I talked about this in the past, but I want to kind of get over it once again, because when you set a goal, what do? You visualize the win, right? Most of the time you visualize yourself there at the finish line. You have a dream body, you have success, it feels amazing. But here's the kicker, there's actually plenty of research that shows that this is actually working against you. your brain actually gets a dopamine hit from the fantasy itself, a hit of satisfaction, and that actually lowers your drive to do the work. It's actually quite fascinating if you think about it, because your brain, you're kind of tricking your brain into thinking that you made it, that you have the win already. But what actually works, and this is gonna sound backwards, but what actually works is you visualizing the loss. It's you thinking about like what's the worst case scenario, and more or less visualizing the cost of not doing it. So think about this. What does your life look like in 1 year from now? And I do mean if you actually changed nothing, because I do this all the time nowadays. I visualize, I'm asking myself, do I still want to be the same in 1 year from now? Am I happy with where I'm at right now? And do I want to still be the same? I mean, I'm not unhappy. I'm really grateful. I'm super fucking grateful, to be honest. But I want more. I know I can do more, and I want more. And the thing is, there's actual science behind this, because there's this researcher called, and I'm gonna butcher this, but she's called Gabrielle Oettingen. And she was the one that actually found out that people who visualized success performed worse. Andrew Huberman covered this as well. He's a well-known figure in this self-improvement space. Visualizing failure puts your body in kind of a action mode, while visualizing success makes you a bit more relaxed than you should be, probably. And again, I'm kind of really frustrated that most self-improvement advice kind of gets this backwards. So now you're keeping promises to yourself and you're thinking about your goals the right way. But there's a third thing, and this one might actually be the hardest. And it's more or less all about your environment. Because when you're home, when you're, you want to do something, you get that motivation spike to do something, and you see people around you doing something completely different, you're not going to want to do it. When your roommates are gaming or, staying on the couch and watching Netflix and just taking the easy way out, and then you're the one staying there and trying to work on something that nobody can see yet, that kind of messes with your brain. Trust me. That's lonely. And it's not because your friends are bad people or anything, they're just doing their thing. It's just that they don't share your vision, your ambition, I guess. And there's actually a word for this in this, self-improvement space, if you want to call it that. And it's called the lonely chapter. And it basically says that you're kind of too ambitious for your current circle, but you're actually not where you're supposed to be or where you want to be in the future, where you see yourself to, play along with the big dogs. You're essentially stuck in between. And this is where most people quit, because it's so much easier to just, take the easy way out, take the easy option and sit on the couch and watch a football game. Or, I'm talking about my own experiences now, but yeah, it's so much easier to do that instead of putting in the work. And there's also this kind of weird thing, if you think about it, because it kind of makes you want to fit in with your group, with your current group of friends, because we are social creatures after all, and we want to have people around us. We want to be part of a group of, we want to have friends. It's important, actually. But yeah, it's also really, really hard to go through this lonely chapter, and I'm essentially more or less experiencing it right now. What helps, in my case at least, it's having somebody that really, really believes in you. And for me, at least, it's a life partner that I have. She is amazing. She's amazing. She believes in me with all her body, all the cells in her body. And she tells me this every single time. I am so grateful to have her. Thank you, babe. But then again, it could be a partner, a life partner, it could be a friend that kind of shares, or somebody else that kind of shares that same vision, or a very similar vision with yours, with what you have. But yeah, honestly, those people are really freaking hard to find, especially in your friend group. So most of the time, it's basically just you doing the thing alone. But once again, I just want to say that that's okay, that's fine, it's just something that you have to be aware of. It's just something that doesn't need to throw you off. And you know what the worst part is? Most people are dealing with all these 3 things that I mentioned above at the same time. No self-trust, the wrong mental model, and nobody around them who gets it. And that's a big reason why they quit. Again, it's not because they're weak or something, it's just that the deck is kind of stacked against them and they don't even know it. So, when my friends asked how I stay consistent, this is the real answer. Discipline is the tool, yes, but the reason you cannot use it is because somewhere along the way you stopped trusting yourself. You've been thinking about your goals the wrong way, and you actually have people around you that make the easy path seem way too comfortable. So here's the takeaway. Consistency isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a side effect of trusting that you're gonna show up for yourself no matter what. You build or rebuild that trust one kept promise at a time. Start small, keep that promise by showing up, and then make another one. That's it. That's the whole game. Yo, if I can do it, you can do it too. Trust me. It's just a matter of kind of knowing what's been holding you back all this time. And I really hope that this video helped at least shed some light on that. But before you go, I wanna hear from you. What's one promise that you keep breaking to yourself? Leave that in the comments below, and I promise I'm gonna answer every single one of those. I'm really small right now, so you know, my time allows it. And I really enjoy talking with somebody in the comments. So if you see this, let me know what's the one promise that you keep breaking to yourself, and let's discuss. And if you like this, please hit that subscribe button. It generally helps me keep going, and I have a few more things to share, quite a few more, every single Monday. And also, if you wanna see how this looks like in practice, last week I broke down how I'm actually managing to lose weight without a perfect diet. Go watch that one next, and remember, it's not that serious.